AITA for canceling my birthday because I refused to let my stepsister join? My mom thinks I'm selfish. I, 16, am almost 17, am stuck in a really frustrating situation, and honestly, I just need to know if I'm the bad guy here. 9 years ago, my dad passed away. Since then, it's just been me and my mom. About 4 years ago, my mom married Carl, and he moved in with us along with his daughter, Megan, 15F. Megan splits her time between our house and her mom's place, while I live with my mom and Carl full-time. I'll be real, I've never gotten along with Megan. When we first met, she was tolerable for about an hour. But the more time we spent together, the more unbearable it became. It wasn't simple sibling disagreements. It was her constantly pushing boundaries, disrespecting my stuff, and making me feel like my home wasn't mine anymore. At first, I tried to give her a chance. But Megan has this thing where everything has to revolve around her. Anytime I was playing video games, like my dad's old PS2, which is basically a treasure to me, she'd barge in and demand I switch to something she liked. If she thought my game was boring or too boyish, she'd straight up pull the plug on the TV or the console. It wasn't just that. My mom would sometimes give me money to grab snacks from the store, but she'd insist I take Megan along. And every single time, it turned into a disaster. Megan would try to snatch the money out of my hands, demand we only buy what she wanted, and throw a fit if I dare grab something I liked. Then, on the walk home, she'd act like I was the villain for excluding her or being mean because I wouldn't give her 100% control over what we bought. Once we fully moved in together, things went downhill fast. Megan acted like my bedroom was her second living room. She'd come in whenever she wanted, ignore me when I asked her to leave, and even physically block me from closing my own door. One time, she outright tried to steal one of my games. I had enough and told my mom I needed locks. Thankfully, my mom agreed and got me locks for both my bedroom door and my closet. Did that stop Megan? Nope. Instead, she invited her friends over, and I literally caught them trying to pick the lock to my closet to get to my stuff. Then came the issue with food. Megan had this nasty habit of grabbing food off my plate, like mid-meal. I got so sick of it that I stopped eating at the table entirely. Carl did step in and put an end to that, but by then, the damage was done. Megan would whine about how mean I was for not sitting next to her anymore, turning even dinner into some weird guilt trip. It didn't stop there. When my mom and Carl went on their honeymoon, I stayed with my paternal grandparents. Megan was with her mom. Apparently, the fact that I had a fun week with my grandparents was a crime in her eyes. She blew up my phone with constant texts and calls, complaining about how unfair it was. I blocked her. She then tattled to her dad and my mom, and I got scolded for excluding her. Things escalated as we got older. Megan started acting super weird around my friends. She flirted with them, and not subtle, awkward flirting, full-on trying to kiss a few of them. One of my friends even stopped coming over because Megan made them so uncomfortable. Then came the most infuriating part. Megan tried to set me up with her best friend. I wasn't interested, and when I said no, she flew off the handle, calling me gay slurs, mocking me, and saying I was too lame to get a girlfriend anyway. The kicker? I'm gay. But at that point, I hadn't come out to her, because frankly, we aren't close and I didn't know her that. But somehow she found out. Instead of being supportive, or even neutral, she threw a full-blown tantrum about it. How could you not tell me? I'm your sister. You're supposed to tell me everything. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You are not my sister." And honestly, I don't regret saying that for a second. Of course, Carl and my mom were pissed that I said it, but I stood my ground. The hoodie incident was the final straw. I had this hoodie, my absolute favorite, a gift from my late dad. Megan stole it and gave it to her best friend like it was hers to give. When I confronted her, she shrugged it off and said, "It's just a hoodie. Chill." I wasn't chilling. I demanded she get it back or pay for it. My mom finally put her foot down and told Carl to make Megan do chores until she could afford to replace it. Even then, Megan acted like I was the bad guy for making a big deal out of it. And whenever my mom and Carl left the house and left us some money for food, Megan would immediately snatch the cash, order food just for herself, and tell me to suck it up. This happened every single time. Now fast forward to the current mess. My birthday is coming up, and my mom offered to rent a cabin for the weekend. Just me, some close friends, and obviously my mom and Carl to supervise. I was genuinely excited, but then came the condition. My mom told me that the cabin weekend couldn't happen unless Megan came too. Apparently, she's family and should be included. I told my mom that Megan wasn't going to come anywhere near my birthday weekend because I knew exactly what would happen. She'd ruin it like she ruins everything else. Worse, my actual birthday weekend, Megan was scheduled to be with her mom. But instead of letting me have that weekend, my mom moved it to the weekend after just so Megan could attend. When I pointed that out, my mom doubled down and said it wouldn't be right to leave Megan out of a family event like this. At that point, I'd had enough. I told my mom to cancel the cabin. I messaged my friends and explained that the trip was off, but that we'd figure out something else to do without Megan. My mom was furious. She said I was being selfish, throwing a tantrum, and hurting Megan's feelings. She told me that calling off the trip just because Megan was coming was immature and cruel. I told her, flat out, that I didn't care. My birthday is supposed to be about me, not Megan. And if having her there means being miserable all weekend, then I'd rather not have the trip at all. So yeah, Reddit, that's where I'm at. My mom thinks I'm a ****. Carl obviously sides with Megan. But honestly, I feel like I'm just setting a boundary to protect my sanity. This isn't about being petty. It's about not letting someone ruin what's supposed to be a happy time for me. So, AITA for calling off my birthday weekend trip because I don't want my stepsister there?